Hey everyone, welcome back and happy Thursday. All right, guys. Well, as you can see, I'm not in my studio, clearly. Jason and I made it to Orlando. We're here with our friend Melissa, and I actually have like a live audience with me right now because they're sitting right next to me. So this isn't awkward at all. But last night we did make it home from dinner and we ended up watching The Real Housewives of Miami. And I don't know if you guys watched episode 4, but it was really good. And finally, the moment that I've been waiting for, we got Stephanie Shojaee. So, if you guys haven't already, before we jump into this, go ahead, pop off in the comment section. Let us know where you're watching from. Don't forget to get subscribed, smash that like button, and let's go. All right, guys. So the moment that I was waiting for, Stephanie Shojaee. Now, she is being dubbed as the richest housewife that has ever landed on Bravo. And why that's interesting is because most of the time when you have people with these lifestyles that are this opulent, with this level of wealth, where you are flying a Boeing that's worth more than most people's homes, right? I think her private jet is worth anywhere from 55 million to 100 million alone. And then she has commercial real estate. They have buildings with over 1,400 units, 800 units in Miami, Coral Gables. I mean, the woman has a lot. And normally, when you have this kind of opulent lifestyle, you don't want to put it out on camera because I feel like people just don't want you in their business. It's kind of like what Kelly Dodd said when Jason and I went to Orange County and we sat down with Kelly Dodd and Rick Leventhal. And she said, I don't understand why Heather Dubrow wants to be on this show. She just wants to be on the show because she wants the fame, because she doesn't need the money. And if you don't need the money, I don't know why you would put up with being on a show like this, which actually is kind of funny because that contradicts her other statement. Because in that same interview, she said being a housewife is like being a stripper, it's easy money. I don't even know if she realizes that. Okay. Anyways, back to it. So we kicked off the episode with Julia being emotional because she was practicing her opera, but she was crying to her opera teacher about what she did with Guerdy. Now, Guerdy, on the other hand, is sitting down with her husband, Russell, while she's decorating the house for Halloween, and she's crying about what Julia did to her. If you guys didn't remember from last week's episode, Julia got pissed off at Guerdy and took her water and splashed it in Guerdy's face, embarrassing her in front of everyone. And thank God for Kiki, who was like, don't let her get you to that place where you're going to pretty much lose your shit. Because, I mean, I think that anybody in that situation would have. If I was sitting across the table and somebody splashed me in the face with a drink, I think that we would probably have a bigger problem than just walking out. But regardless, Julia did eventually apologize. I think it's just really up for Guerdy to figure out whether or not she's going to accept that apology. Even though she did send this long-winded text, and she was showing the text to Marisol, but when she sent this long-winded text, she's like, I'm coming to you with an open heart, and I want to let you know that I want to receive you and move past this. It's like, well, yeah, of course you're going to her with an open heart. You should. You should apologize because you were an asshole and you've splashed her in the face with water. And then you're telling everybody that she's out here trashing your family because she said that you went to go get procedures done while your wife was going through chemo. But in all actuality, what she said was true. And when it came out, that's exactly what you were doing. So she didn't tell a lie, and that's not attacking your family. And if you felt like that was attacking your family, maybe you shouldn't have been doing that while your wife was going through chemo to begin with. Because obviously, it's touching on a nerve, which means you knew that you probably shouldn't have been doing that. Anyways, so Stephanie Shojaee ends up making her entrance with Larsa by getting on her private jet, pulling up to the Miami airport. And where are they going? To Orlando. She was going to meet her parents to pick up her 2 dogs. Literally. I wonder what is it called? An ecological footprint? Like, I think Taylor Swift gets a lot of crap for this, but I wonder what that footprint looks like to fly an hour to Orlando on this big ass jet, waste all of this gas, spend all of this money just to go pick up your 2 dogs. But hey, I guess when you got it, you got it. And she was kind of letting us know how she got introduced into the group. She said when she met Larsa, she's like, I didn't even want to meet Larsa. I didn't know who Larsa was. She's like, listen, I was in the south of France and my friend Caroline Stanberry ended up putting me on a group text. And I'm like, why would you put me on a group text? I'm sitting here on a yacht trying to enjoy myself. And then lo and behold, she introduced me to Larsa. And she wanted me to get to know her and see how I fit in with the ladies from the Real Housewives of Miami. And from that point, 2 years ago, she ended up meeting Alexia and also Marisol. So she doesn't know Julia, she doesn't know Adriana, she doesn't know Guerdy or Kiki. And we're going to see how this plays out because obviously we know that she's butting heads with Alexia already. But I'm going to come back to Stephanie Shojaee in a second. Now, if you guys don't remember from last week's episode, Lisa Hochstein was grieving the loss of her father. She just repaired that relationship with her father, but she ended up flying to Canada because he passed away. And so while Larsa was in Miami and she was spreading all of this gossip about what was going on with Jody and his bug eyes over in Milan, she was burying her father. And she actually ended up sending Larsa a photo of her father in his casket saying, well, you're sitting here talking all of this smack about me with all of the ladies and you're filming. This is what I'm doing. I'm burying my father. I kind of felt like that was a little dramatic, to be honest with you, but I always feel like Lisa Hochstein is a little bit dramatic. I think that's kind of her MO. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't be upset that her father passed away. Obviously, nobody's saying that. But I think sending a photo of an open casket is a little extreme, but it is the Real Housewives. So I guess we'll leave that alone. And by the way, I did want to say this too. Lisa Hochstein also didn't know who Stephanie Shojaee was. And if you watched last night's episode, she comes off so phony and materialistic because she says to Stephanie, she's like, oh my God, when I found out that you were going to be joining the Real Housewives of Miami, I was so excited. You want to know why? Because I love the idea of having a friend that has a private jet and who's super, super wealthy and has these big mansions. And so she's going down the whole line of like these materialistic things. And the Stephanie woman is like, I'm from Colombia. I used to stick my fingers up chickens' asses to check and see if they had eggs. I used to watch bulls get castrated and then we would eat their testicles. And I grew up on a farm. So she didn't grow up with this lifestyle. So she's not from it, which means I don't think that I think that she can see through what Lisa Hochstein is doing, is what I'm trying to say. And she's very, very smart. I just feel like Lisa coming in like that, I think that that was a little bit of a phony move. But since we're talking about her too, just to give you guys a little bit of a background on Stephanie, she was at one point dating Nicole Martin, Dr. Nicole Martin, who's not on the show this season. I mean, she's going to be making a cameo, but she's not really, really on the show. Her fiance, Anthony Lopez. And that was about 20 years ago. So this was forever ago, you guys. And they connected when Anthony was her dad's attorney and they dated for about a year, but I guess there was not a whole lot to that. But she's on good terms with Nicole. She called Nicole fabulous. She said that both her and Anthony ended up getting with people that they are obsessed with, that they love. So she's happy for Anthony and Nicole. She has nothing negative to say about Nicole, which I actually like because it just shows that she's a confident woman. And before joining the Real Housewives of Miami, she did say that she got some advice from a few people, like Caroline Stanberry, who said, I thought that you'd be good on the show, but honestly, if I were you, I would not join. I wouldn't join that show. And Lisa Rinna also cautioned her, telling her, listen, don't do it, which is rich coming from Lisa Rinna, who is now on The Traitors and also trying to do a couple of other Bravo spinoffs after saying that she would never do Bravo or Peacock or NBC again. So if I were you, I probably just would not listen to Lisa Rinna. But she was asked about being labeled the richest housewife ever. And she said, listen, I do flaunt my wealth. I like Birkins. I don't like boogers. I don't like babies. I don't like children. She's like, I like the finer things in life. So yeah, I'm rich, but that's not my identity. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not mad at it because when we had Leah McSweeney on The Real Housewives of New York or Gina Kirschenheiter on The Real Housewives of Orange County, you guys get so pissed off that they live in townhomes and that they have like these really tiny apartments, that they don't have these opulent lifestyles, they don't have a whole lot of money. And you're like, why am I watching this person on this show when in all actuality, I could just turn off the TV and look at my own life if I wanted to see somebody who wasn't rich? I'm not saying that for all of you, but I'm just saying in general. But she, I think that she's going to pan out and be like a really, really good housewife. And, like I said at the beginning, her and Alexia, they're going to, I think, start clashing around episode 6 is what I heard. And I think it's because Alexia feels like she is like she's kind of the cock of the walk here. She's like the number one woman in the group, and Stephanie coming in and everybody kissing her ass, like especially with this baby shower that Adriana was throwing for Julia Limagova. Julia called Adriana and said, "Can you please put Stephanie next to me at the table?" And everybody's like, "I just want to meet Stephanie." Everybody is crawling up Stephanie's skirt over the fact that she has such an immense amount of wealth. And I think that that's going to bother Alexia because if you don't remember, last season, Adriana ended up exposing the fact that Alexia and Todd were having financial issues. And Alexia just said on last week's episode that he rents his life, rents his cars, and rents his house. So I think that, yeah, that's gonna hit a nerve with her. She's gonna be a little bit jealous. And she did say that she got stabbed in the back by an unexpected co-star. She didn't name any of the names, but she said we're going to be surprised by the betrayal. And this is Stephanie, by the way. And she said, as far as like the season as a whole, it was one of the funnest things that she's ever done. Also, one of the hardest things that she's ever done. And she felt like it was a roller coaster. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think. One, about her entrance, and two, about last night's episode, but just also the Real Housewives of Miami as a whole right now. I think that Jason and I can agree that it's one of our favorite franchises, and I feel like the ratings have not been great for it. However, if you get into it, it's not like you need to go watch the previous seasons to know what's going on. I think that if you like immerse yourself into it for a minute, you'll get hooked. This is a great cast. I like the roles, who the friends are, who the full-time housewives are. I think that this is going to be a winner. I think we just have to stick through the rest of the season, but we'll see. Anyways, I want to hear what you guys think. Guys, pop off in the comment section. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and we'll see you next time. Love you guys. Bye.